really keep our eye in the picture and have us do what we want it to do. We take the blue and the brown and the green, a little bit of black, get the burnt sienna, quite a bit of green. And we want to come back down and I'll do a little bit of this while it's wet. And we'll just start, see, I'll get a little lost and found in here. Now when you do things like this, you don't want it too busy. You jump in, say what you want to say, get out. Okay, now let's turn this around and see what this looks like. I think that I'm going to be satisfied with this. Now we're going to pull some misket up, have some limbs coming across here. Maybe sometimes I wish I wouldn't have done that, but that's okay, because we're still saving all the impact for whenever we get to this point, and we have the things to find that we want to find in terms of what's the relationship of all the fence up here to be to the rest of it. Okay, now I think that having done all of this, I'm going to just come across here with a little bit more shadow. Let's get a little bit of that green and burnt sienna. Maybe show a little bit more of this coming across here and connecting like this. Now, one last thing is bothering me, and probably shouldn't worry about it, but I feel like I'd like this to not be quite as thick. I think it's leaning in a little bit too much. So I'm going to come back down and straighten this edge out just a tiny bit here. Put a couple of coats. Yeah, I'm a lot more satisfied with that. And even though some of this might be a little bit off and this kind of thing, it doesn't really matter. Okay, now we're going to come back to our back section. Let's go. Well, I had mentioned we're going to stop this part right here, so why don't we just go ahead and stop and let me make another copy for you, and then we'll have to make the decisions on here and on the bottom down here, and we'll go from there. Okay, it's a very good stopping point, and we'll just do this accordingly. Okay, as we go to perhaps the second to last stage of this, where we're going to, I'm very satisfied with the way your eye comes across here and picks this up. I've got a lot of trashy stuff in here that you'll understand better when I pick the misket up. This may be entirely too busy when I get finished with everything, and I'll have to tone it down. But I just felt it added so much to the picture that I have no regrets about putting it in there. Okay, now what I'd like to do now, I'd like to take a little bit of burnt sienna, barely tinted, and take a little bit of my cadmium red. Instead of a purplish looking color now, with the red and the sienna, I'm going to get a earthy tint that I'd like to have for a particular area that we're going to turn this sideways a little bit right here, and really want to make sure I don't overdo this. So we're going to come in and we're going to put just a little bit of this right here. I mean just very, very little. Kind of let it come across, start dry brushing it a little bit and fade it, and then I may pick a little bit of it up over here. Now this is really not even enough to be able to detect, but it'll accomplish something in a moment that I would like it to accomplish. And now as that's drying, I may just hit this with a little bit more of this color here, making sure that as I go out a little bit further. I just wanted a little hint of something in this area, but I really would like this to be predominantly light as it goes back there. Now, the next and I think very important part of this that I would like to emphasize. Now, before I do that, I noticed that I'd like a little more contrast right here. You see, now as I go back and focus on different areas, I can concentrate on the composition. Okay, now let's go to our blue, a burnt sienna. Excuse me, our blue or our alizarin crimson and a little bit of burnt sienna. And we're going to just, first of all, show that little overhang coming across the back of this here. This may not seem like a lot. It would have come along the side the same way, but I feel like it really does finish it off. We'll let that go on, and particularly this area up here, because what happens in the back of this area, oh yeah, that looks really good as far as what I want. What happens on the back of this is, let's darken this a little bit more right here. This really could almost say a solid black. I think that'll do that. What's really going on is the porch, I believe, across the back here is a little bit diagonal. In other words, I think as you come to this column and this column, it slants at a little bit of an angle coming off the back of it. So we wanted to kind of pick that up a little bit. Now, I've let this other part dry sufficiently. Let's see if I can get my reference piece out here now. And now that we have that much done, I'm going to take a little bit lighter color. And I would like to show a little bit of a shadow under here. So, all you have to do is just do that on there very lightly. And then we're going to show a little bit of shadow under this one. Okay, and that settles that down very nicely. I don't really want a lot of detail in there. See, that's really all I'm basically going to do here. Now, coming across this whole back section, what's going to be the redeeming factor in this area here? I felt like I might have overdone the some of the technique on the shadow area here, but in reality, I really want, there's a lot of foliage pattern coming back here, and I really want to pick up those shapes. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have like foliagey areas like this coming back, and maybe have it like this to sort of, and then you really also have shadows from your limbs coming down, and all of these things kind of add a little bit of extra pizzazz to it at this point and break up the monotony of it. And then coming back here, I even have, just really unique shadows that I can just intermittently put up in here without really putting too much information. And this is going to be enough, and then back here I'll have a little bit more. Now our moss is going to be in this corner, so I didn't really need that. Let's just take that out. We'll soften that a little bit later on. I notice these little finishing touches, they just going on there very, very easily. We'll lift that up and cover that with our moss. I just have to watch now I don't overdo this part of it. Okay, so I'm satisfied with the way all of this is connected together here now, and I've left enough information so that it's pretty well doing what I wanted to do. Now we're going to have some shadow along this post here. I want that post to be brilliantly white like this and this, and I'm hoping that the white actually will balance off here and here. When I come across with my shadows, your eye's going to want to follow back in here. So I'm actually going to use these areas to my advantage in what we're going to do. Now, I felt like on these columns we could kind of get a little creative and taking a little burnt sienna in that red and just warming this up a little bit, just giving it a little bit more pizzazz. By the way, I'm let some of it run over into the white, kind of antique it. And now, I don't want to go too much further here. I'm going to be picking up the biscuit momentarily, but let's go now with our blue and our crimson again, since we've been going with this mixture. We'll put a little bit of burnt sienna in it to tone it down. Again, we'll hit it with a little bit of our black. Now, I don't want to really pussyfoot around in here. I want some really, really strong shadows coming across the back of this. So what we're going to do is we're just going to start right here, and we're going to start casting some shadows. And we'll have that one, and then this one. Of course, we already have the ones down here. Maybe make some of these a little darker to connect it together. Now, in addition to that, I'm going to lighten my brush up a little bit, and we're going to have some lighter shadows also coming across. But then we'll get to a certain point, and we really want some fairly large shadows across the back of here, because now this is going to begin to identify not only what we're doing here, but also it's going to start linking it with this part back here. So we're going to do this part, have that coming across pretty strongly. It's not for the faint-hearted, I can tell you, because I put a lot of time in this. You're always thinking you're always going to do too much, but you got to do it. So we're going to come in, have a fairly large shadow here. Maybe it's a shadow from a column. And then bring it in, let it subdue a little bit over here. And then our final shadow is going to be back here. Have it come up, maybe even have it a little bit lighter. Bring it like this. Now, hopefully this is going to be enough, along with leaving this light here, that's going to be able to take care of the rest of that. Okay, we'll see. Now, I had one area here stopping, which was fine. The only thing is I failed to continue with this, so let's put that in there like that. And then let's get this real strong shadow coming across here. And maybe pick this one up from over here like this. And we'll have something connecting here, like maybe it is coming from a column. Now, of course, we'll see how this looks a lot better when we get all of this out of here. Now, strangely enough, we've got a beam of light hitting an area right here, and I'm going to just come around here with a little bit of shadow like this. This is a column also. All we're seeing is that light area. Just something to soften it just a little bit. And okay, now I think I'm ready to leave that. We'll have to just wait and see how it works out. It may not work out, but if not, we'll figure out what else we're going to do to it. Now we have another line coming across here. It's going to stop at this point. Okay, now our shadow area is so strong that we're not even going to attempt to do any of this right here. We're just going to let this be solid white. Maybe have a little bit of shadow up under here like this. Maybe a little indication right here. But we're just going to really let this be the most solid part of the picture as far as the lighting hitting it. So we're going to do this, and then I'm going to just take and dilute some of this a little bit. We're just going to show the irregularity of this this post here. Let it come back in front. Now I want to be very cautious that I don't go too far with this. Okay, I'm satisfied with that. That's really all I want in this part. I may darken it slightly, but now see, if you take and clean your brush, come back like this, it just brings that out a little bit more. Okay, now, I don't know why I do crazy things like this, but I'm going to put a little bit of brown in here. I just like, while it's wet, I can't resist adding that little bit of extra color to it. Okay, now we're really going to have boards in the bottom area down here, so we're not going to do too much, but I would like to come in and approximate. That's right, this is going to end just about the bottom of this, so we'll just come in like this and put the rest of our shadow on the side of that. Now, to link it all together, I'll add a little bit more of the burnt sienna in here. Let's see what I feel like is this kind of connects this as you go up there, and I like that very much. Alright, now as far as everything except doing the foliage and all that up here, I'm pretty well finished with this part. I think I'm going to go ahead and bite the bullet now and put the shadows across the foreground, and then let that part be finished, and all we'll have is the fence and lifting the misket, and we can start making our final decisions for this thing. So let's get our darker green color, which is going to consist of the green and these are going to be pretty strongly contrasted shadows. And it's going to consist of the green and the burnt sienna, and we're just going to come on across. No big fuss over this thing, man. We're just going to layer it in there. And we're going to bring it all across like this. Really connect this bottom part. And then this is going to come like this. Let's connect this right here before it starts drying completely, because I don't mind a little texture on the foliage. And in fact, if it breaks it up a little bit sometimes, but it's got a strong dry brush effect down here, and I want to maintain that. Now we have a shadow that pretty much goes across here that I feel is very important, and I'll maybe explain to you a little bit more on that later. If we feel like it's worthwhile explaining, but bottom line is that it kind of is the last linkage with this part here, and it doesn't stop your eye from what I wanted to ultimately do, and that's come across here. Now, what we have is we can have little deals like this and like this, and see what I'm actually going to do by doing this. I don't want to make it too solid. Have that come in a little bit more like this. I want to make your eye really come back around here. And so this is what we're going to do here. I'll kind of tone it down a little bit over here. Maybe put a little something in the corner here just to see. And I like when it gives you that little dry brush effect like that too. See, I'm going to make your eye go back around like that just by what I did. Okay, now that probably is going to be strong enough for this, but I think I want to cool it down a little bit. Get me some more blues and reds. Let's get a little bit more of that green in there. And some of this I really don't want to be skittish with, man. I want to just go for it. Pick those strong darks up like over here. I'm going to let some of this other green come through. Now, it looks very powerful. I want it to be. And I think we can see it a little bit and understand it a little bit more putting this on here. Now, you have to understand, when I tone this fence down, It's going to make all the difference in the world. And I'm getting very close to that point. And I think what I'll do, we haven't really done a whole lot on here, but I think it's another good stopping point before we do the last linkage, which is going to be actually putting the fence in, taking the misket up, and that'll be the final part of it. So let's just go ahead and put it on pause now and let you do the final part. Watch me do the final part. Now before we do the final part, so let's step back a little bit here. Let me get some of the blue and the red. I see alizarin. Again, we're going to go through the sequence. Tone it down with the burnt sienna a little bit. We don't want it real dark. And I feel like we really need to have some areas here a little bit stronger. Now I don't want to lose my reflected light or anything like that on the edge of it. And let's just maybe have this area all the way down here a little bit darker. Come up like this the same way. And then in addition to it, I want to just dry brush some of this in here. Not let it end so abruptly. And we might even put a little bit of our burnt sienna. Maybe even in heat up. That's not coming out right. This way you have to be careful. Get a little tired, you want to get it finished. But it's not where you want to really get too cutesy. Alright, you see I'm going to come in with a little bit lighter color. I don't want to make this too busy, as I mentioned. Maybe have a little bit of it come over here. Whatever. Okay. Now, I wanted something at least relating these two together before I stop this point, so you can kind of connect that as you do it. Okay, it's going to be fun coming back and kind of coming up here, picking again up here, giving this nice counter movement. I think that that would be the most effective thing that we could do with it. But I'm going to pick some of this grayish burnt sienna, and the way I intend to do it, so that I'm going to have it lighter up here where it's darker, and darker down here where it's lighter. See, that's going to break a lot of the monotony of it up. So for a little experiment, let's just put a little red in it, and put a little bit of blue just to slightly tone it down and gray it. Now let's start up here, and we want this to come down like this and get lost. So we're going to do this like this. Well, we're not going to have the bright sunlight hitting this like we do in other parts of it. Okay, now I like the color that I've come up with here, but I think I'd like to really kind of give it a little bit more pizzazz by putting some red in it. So let's just get a little bit of our pure red here and mix it with it like this. Of course, that's a little bit too much. I'm not worried if it's a little bit off as far as having some textures and stuff like that if I don't get it exactly perfect on here, because we can remember it is a wooden fence, and so we're going to come in. Now what I'm really interested in doing, however, more than anything else, is as I come down here, I want to incorporate a little bit more of this color in it, and then towards the base of it. Now up here, see, this is toned down well enough. Now whether it's exactly what I want or not, I don't know. But I want to come in now and I'm going to take a little bit more stronger burnt sienna, and I want to come off the ground like this. And I actually want this to kind of, while it's wet, I want it to fade up. Okay, and I've got something close to this right now. Then I'm going to take a little bit of my blue and red color that I've been using so much, and we're going to ultramarine blue and the alizarin crimson. And then as I come up like this, see, I'll just kind of wing it and maybe kind of give it an effect of looking a little bit more like wood, if I feel like that's what I'd like to do. But mostly towards the base of it, I want this to almost be like it's got cast shadows going across it. Because what I want more than anything else now is I want this to look like it's rooted in the ground. So I'll just keep doing layer after layer, getting a little bit bolder as I did on this one right here. Now I'm really not too concerned about what happens in here. In fact, I think that cooling this down a little bit up here, since it is in shadow, is even going to be a lot nicer. So let's just tone all of it down a little bit. Now notice I really have it standing out down here. Come back in with a little bit of my green here, that dark green I used a little while ago. I'm going to connect all this together. Now see how that settles it down, have my little dark. That doesn't really matter. You're thinking, well, I wonder what he's trying to put there. Who cares? Now in a little bit I'm going to make this slat a little bit darker on this side up against it, and that's going to give me a little bit more definition on that part of it. Now here, you know, I'm going to keep the lighter color again. Now remember, I don't want to lose this light effect. So our slat's going to come down like this. And I know how dark I can make this now, so I'm going to just come back in and not hold back as much. Bring it up like this. Now I can always do it, re-wet it, and come back and do some more on it later. So I think we're going to go ahead and just go with that. See? Got my feet on the ground with it now, and I'm not as scared to try different things with it. Okay, now we're going to even start mixing a little bit of the blue with it as I bring it down. Now I definitely know that that's the route we're going to take. Now some of those areas there are a little bit too I want this to be extremely dark, but I'll tell you what I do want. I do want this to be strongly dark down here, because I'm gonna depend on this to bring your eye across. Now there's one thing I did regretfully, but that's just life. And I wish I would have left some of the white. Oh no, I take it back. I take it back. I thought I wanted some white. I keep forgetting these are boards here. I will take the white though and show you how I'm going to fix that fence real quickly. See some of these areas here, I lost the definition. I just do it and let it dry. If it's too bright, I'll tone it down later. Okay. Now that took care of that pretty quickly. This is still pretty damp, so I'm going to leave it. Now I can always come back over it with some of this other color in a little bit too if I want to. Alright. Now I happen to accidentally put a little bit of that Living Crimson in there with that burnt sienna this time. So we're not going to let that bother us. Now, start up here again. Now that's a little stronger than I wanted it. So we're going to do this. I don't want to lose that nice effect. Now again, as it comes down towards the base of it, we'll get a little bit more serious with it as far as the shape of it. So we're going to do that. I'm going to take a little bit of our burnt sienna color like we've been doing and work a little bit more of it. And I like it to be really lighter up at the top. And then we're going to take finally the same little thing we've been doing. The color's not exactly the same. We're not going to worry about that. So we're going to do this pretty much like you see it here. Now, using that big brush, I did lose a little bit of my definition up here. Now, see, if you want to, you can take your white and mix it with a little bit of this color and get the perfect color that you want. The point is, don't sweat it. Just do it. Now that really works a little bit better and a little bit more natural, but see, all this looks solid white a minute ago, and that's all completely lost in there now. Okay. And this is getting very close to what I want it to be. I do like this little bit more burnt sienna at the bottom here. So watch how easy it is to just combine the two now. You know, these slats, they kind of gray out pretty much. They really not that big a deal. Okay. Now, next we'll come up at the top again, kind of get our color rather light. You have to just be patient, you know. I'm as anxious to get this thing through as you probably are tired of seeing it. But got to be patient. Now, I'm confident enough in what I'm doing. I see I lost it a little bit there, so let's just come back. Some of this, see, I don't have real strong values behind it. So I want to make sure I leave it lighter. Then when I get down here to the white, then I'll loosen up a little bit. Now we'll bring this down like this. Let that accomplish what it's supposed to accomplish there. Now see, towards the base, same way. I want that all to connect. I don't want to be any doubts in anybody's mind about what's happening there. Okay, we got that looking halfway decent. Let's go back in there with a little bit more of that grayish burnt sienna color now. I got a little bit too much of the sienna in there, so let's... Now I'm going to show you another little thing that I'll do to work this thing into doing what I want it to do. Now we're going to go like this. And I see those nice dark colors are hopefully going to drag your eye up here. And a lot of this you just got to do it, let it dry, do it, let it dry, just keep playing with it. Okay, now down to our last 2 or 3 portions on our post here. Now, before I finish, well, let's finish this one. I'm going to show you the way I come back and I work these things. Now, see, now we're getting over to an area where it's, I'm going to get a little bit more of the blue, but I'm going to put a little bit of burnt sienna because, see, now we're getting into an area where it's all completely light. Now, that's a little bit dark up here, but it really is what I want. I wasn't really worried about the darkness. I want a little bit more of the burnt sienna in it. Now you see I'm going to come in and I'm going to start making this part of my fence a lot darker. And some people might think you can't do that, and my whole reasoning and all this stuff is always, why not? You know, you can do whatever you want to do. If you just remember it's your painting. Now see, sometimes you can leave a little bit of an area like that, break it up. Now look at how nicely that's standing out. So, you know, hit this with a little bit more of it. Same way here, get a little dry brush. I'm getting a little stronger pigment. And now, when we get to an area where that lighter color is there and it's a little bit confusing, we'll do the same thing up here. Just bring it down a little bit like that. So we don't want to lose our definition. Always working value against value. You're drawing with values. Now see, I might be getting a little bit lighter in there than I maybe want it to be, but it's working. So. Now see, I'm a little bit dubious about getting some dry brush effect. This is a 140-pound watercolor paper, so it's really not got a lot of texture in it. But the way that I'm applying this, it's coming out a little dryly, and I kind of like it though, so I'm going to try to live with it. And they said we're going to just do the same thing again. Start down here. See, now I know this is a little lighter than I want it to be, so I want to lose those tips, make it look like it. Look, that's all part of that shadow. But see how that's going to really grab your eye and make it go into that. Okay, now I may tone all of it down a little bit. Now let's come over here. We have another area that's going to be completely dark, so we'll start off with it a little bit stronger. Now this is going to be a very crucial area, and that's why I've sort of saved it and to last, to make my determination in terms of what's going to be important, what's not going to be important, and this kind of thing. Because by doing that, particularly when you commit into darks, you really give yourself an opportunity to save yourself a lot of trouble and kind of be in control of it. Now I'm losing this a little bit here. It's going to dry lighter, and so I'm going to leave it. Let's just see what that's going to do. And then lastly, got a burnt sienna color with like blue in it, and we're just going to start up here. Bring it straight on down. See, again, we have that ultramarine bluish color to fall back on. Now we might want it a little lighter up here because I'll break it up a little bit. See, some of it you really intentionally want to lose. There's some areas it looks a little anemic. I'll touch it up a little bit. Now, I really am not too crazy about these areas up here drying this lightly. So put a little more color in them. Now right here, it's kind of like what I did here. I really need to get this a little darker. And add a little more burnt sienna to that to kind of fill that in. Okay, I think I'm pretty close to what I want on that. Now, before I turn that sideways and do this other area over here, let's lift that up a little bit. I do have one section. I want to take my blue and my brown, which is going to give me somewhat of a darker tint. Bring that down like that. And then wash it out. Okay, now over here, get some more of this little bit richer color here. Bring that up a little bit more. I don't really care if some of this just gets lost completely in here. Okay, now I have a feeling that by the time I get through, I may want to start up here, have all of this a little bit darker. But you have to be patient in watercolor, you see, because I left myself leeway to do anything I want to do. Now up in this darker section, I'll just wash it up, you see. And I have that doing everything I want it to do right now. Okay, now I just may decide that I need this a little darker on this side against that post, maybe against the shadow. But I don't care if I have a little bit of lost, what you call lost and found. Okay, we're going to start this sideways now, and we're going to take that burnt sienna. Just interested in creating, there are a lot of patterns, a lot of activity, really a lot of excitement. So we'll even drag some of this down a little bit here. Now some of this I cut it off, and so when you do that, you can also come back and pull you out a couple of things like this if you happen to get it a little bit off. But in sections like this moss can be very, very dark. And I really wanted it to break up the monotony of the house, so that's what we're going to follow. We're going to go with, and then we'll get into areas over here. A little bit more of that crimson in there. And I might just put it lighter, not show a lot of activity. Because we don't want it to just begin to get a life of its own, so to speak. Okay. This is not intended to add more interest, or, well, I guess it is intended to add more interest, but it's not really intended to be a dominant part in the composition. Okay, so with that in mind, we'll come in and do this. Add a little black to it. But again, it's going to serve our function very well by just showing a little bit of the texture and just being there, as I said, to break it up. Now, some ways I have this miscut is a mixed blessing, because it can really, like some of these areas I would like to have had a little thinner, but I can always take care of it. See, the main thing I want is I just want to tone all this down. I want the interest in there. I want it to do what I want it to do, so we just jump in and do it. Now, some of the moss got eliminated when the miscut went on there. Okay, as we get down to this final portion here, I really just want to mainly get rid of this stuff. So what we're going to do, we're going to come in like this, and I'm just going to get rid of that spaghetti. So we're going to, I've got to start out, but I wanted one kind of a large branch coming across here like this. And see, when you get to this point, all you really need to do is just take a little color and get it out of there. Let's see, here I lost it, but I'll come back and show you how we'll find it. Now, see, this is, I thought I might have had this a little heavy also, but I think it's going to work fine now. And you know, this is the area I had the least plan, actually, and it always seems like things show up when that's the situation, but truthfully didn't really matter, because I knew that no matter what I did with it, I would be able to to tone it down and do some other things. So now see what you do when you get something like that. Then you get your blue, you get your brown. See, and I covered quite a bit of it. It's a little bit wet. Got me a little bit of black in it. And the areas like this that I get away with it, I'll just come back in and texturize it a little bit. See, and then you can, with limbs, you really have so many options as far as what you can do with them. For instance, one of the primary things is you have your, now I'm going to use a little white on that, you have your little darker area you can put up under the bottom. Then if you can come up like this, you can make a total area somewhat darker, come back like this, and the biggest thing is sometimes it's hard to taper that misket. So I'll show you how we're going to handle that in just a little bit. Now see, coming down here, you can just have a dark area, then lose it. Main thing as it comes towards the edge, I want to have it, see, I'll dry brush some of it like this. Mainly it's just a matter of, notice how that's all blended in very nicely now. I'll come at the top up here, get some of this color like this, and I kind of lost my limb, probably lost my direction. Bring it down like this. That's looking good. That's what I wanted to do. Okay, now coming down here. Again, one more time. Just dabbing it on there, getting that light stuff out. This gives you so many variables in nature as far as what you can do. It kind of makes it nice. What I wanted really was some of this stuff going around this moss. Even though the little white areas are way too light and too thick on the edges, I should say. I'll show you the little trick I got up my sleeve on that. And see, what I'm hoping is going to happen, and I think it is as I tone all of this down, okay, it's really making the rest of the picture center more on the section here that I want it to be relief. I want relief, and I want it to really stand out. I haven't done that. I'm going to come across here. See, sometimes you just make a whole section dark and you lose it. See, then you come back, you make another section like that. Now up here. So you just get that old lost and found effect. Now, okay, now we'll, boy, this took out a little bit longer than I expected, but yes and no. I don't count. See, now I feel like we need to get a little bit more of this broken up like this. Now, let's come in, coming out the side like this. I really want this tree to get lost. See, maybe down here I'll just, see, you start texturizing it. Now the real fun on this thing in a minute is going to be, see, I'm really, it's doing everything I want it to do now. I'm getting rid of all of those busy places. just interested in creating. There are a lot of patterns, a lot of activity, really a lot of excitement. So we'll even drag some of this down a little bit here. Now some of this I'll cut it off, and see when you do that, you can also come back and pull you out a couple of things like this if you happen to get it a little bit off. But in sections like this moss can be very, very dark. And I really wanted it to break up the monotony of the house, so that's what we're going to follow. We're going to go with, and then we'll get into areas over here. A little bit more of that crimson in there. And I might just put it lighter, not show a lot of activity. Because we don't want it to just begin to get a life of its own, so to speak. Okay. This is not intended to add more interest, or, well, I guess it is intended to add more interest, but it's not really intended to be a dominant part in the composition. Okay, so with that in mind, we'll come in and do this. Add a little black to it. But again, it's going to serve our function very well. I'm just showing a little bit of the texture. And just being there, as I said, to break it up. Now, some ways I have this miscut is a mixed blessing, because it can really, like some of these areas I would like to have had a little thinner, but I can always take care of it. See, the main thing I want is I just want to tone all this down. I want the interest in there. I want it to do what I want it to do, so we just jump in and do it. Now, some of the moss got eliminated when the miscut went on there. Okay, as we get down to this final portion here, I really just want to mainly get rid of this stuff. So what we're going to do, we're going to come in like this, and I'm just going to get rid of that spaghetti. So I've got to start out, but I wanted one kind of a large branch coming across here like this. And see, when you get to this point, all you really need to do is just take a little color and get it out of there. Let's see, here I lost it, but I'll come back and show you how we'll find it. Now, see, this is, I thought I might have had this a little heavy also, but I think it's going to work fine now. And you know, this is the area I had the least plan, actually, and it always seems like things show up when that's the situation, but truthfully didn't really matter, because I knew that no matter what I did with it, I'd be able to tone it down and do some other things. So let's see what you do when you get something like that. Then you get your blue, you get your brown. See, and I covered quite a bit of it. It's a little bit wet. Got me a little bit of black in it. And the areas like this that I get away with it, I'll just come back in and texturize it a little bit. See, and then you can, with limbs, you really have so many options as far as what you can do with them. For instance, one of the primary things is you have your, now I'm going to use a little white on that, you have your little darker area you can put up under the bottom. Then if you can come up like this, you can make a total area somewhat darker, come back like this. And the biggest thing is sometimes it's hard to taper that misket. So I'll show you how we're going to handle that in just a little bit. Now see, coming down here, you can just have a dark area, then lose it. Main thing as it comes towards the edge, I want to have it, see, I'll dry brush some of it like this. Mainly it's just a matter of, notice how that's all blended in very nicely now. I'll come at the top up here, get some of this color like this, and I kind of lost my limb, probably lost my direction. Bring it down like this. That's looking good. That's what I wanted to do.